Santa brought a hell of a Christmas present recently, the wine workbook from Amble Wine, a paramount help for wine students that I certainly wanted to spread the word about on this channel. The founder, Gatinois, has missed a comprehensive workbook to practice and knowledge during her WSET diploma studies, so she created her own. And thanks God she did, because these maps, infographics, variety descriptions and the like are great helping hands preparing for the scary D3 exam this year. We've talked about the many motivations behind starting the company, the product portfolio, future projects, life as a young wine entrepreneur, and other silly things. I hope you enjoy my conversation with Leah, and don't forget to order your workbooks on amblewine.com. You won't regret it. Cheers! So, Leah, thanks for taking the time. I've received from Santa your great workbooks. Fortunately, it's been a great help for the WFCT exam. So I want to thank you for this. I'm really curious how the idea came about, actually.
Yeah, thank you, Mate, for your interest and for letting me in today. So the idea, it was actually 2 years ago when I started. I was also studying for the WSET, but just before that, I was doing a master in wine and spirits management, actually. But I focus more on the wine parts. And during my studies, I've written a lot of books, all very interesting. But I think the fact that I really missed a very synthesized book, something very concise with all the key information. And it's quite hard to find something very precise and very concise at the same time. Because as a wine student, when you have the world to study, you don't have that much time to focus on one region in particular. And you don't have much time to focus on that region. But at the same time, you really want to get as much information as you can. So the books were useful, but at the same time, I felt I had a lot of books to study. I didn't have that much time. So I started to create the book that I was missing. At the beginning, it was for myself. But then I got a bit of time because it was COVID period. So I started to share it. And that's it. I think people liked it. And here we are. Amble Wine was created. So it just started with workbooks at the beginning.
Because I think a lot of WSET students create these kind of notes for themselves, and also they try to find some kind of structure to stick to knowledge, kind of. But what was maybe the tipping point for you that wow, I can maybe make some money with that? Like I can maybe make a business out of it.
It wasn't like something that come up suddenly. It was really a step by steps. So the first workbook, it was on wine maps of France. Maybe I can tell you, like it's you have 15 regions, full maps, and then you have empty versions for wine students to practice. That's important to say in the podcast to introduce. So I started with that. The first time I sold maybe like 15 items. So it was just out of passion, and I wanted to help other white students with what I created. And then I got more and more requests. So I started print more and more of these items. I think maybe after 6 months, I decided that it was becoming a company, and I had other ideas. I started the wine boxes. So it was really gradual. I didn't have something really fixed. Maybe 6 months after creating the first workbook.
And what was your background till then? I think the structure is also very well made, but also the drawings are really good. So what was your background basically? Did you have anything publishing or?
Thank you. I actually studied hospitality management, so not really related, a bit related as well because it was management. So like how to create a business. And then I worked for a multinational company in Germany, and I worked in marketing for them, digital marketing. So it helped me learn all the digital aspects, social media, website management, and design management. But more on the management side, I didn't draw myself. And then out of passion, I think I like create things. So it's just starting like this. So I haven't done a course on how to use Adobe Suite, like Photoshop, InDesign. It just came up. And if you see the first drawings that I've done, it's quite different from now. And I think I still have a lot of things to learn, but just enjoying it. It helps.
Yeah, that's true.
And the wine passion actually came from Germany, because I discovered the Riesling from Moselle, and that's how I decided to go back to the wine industry.
Okay, nice. And
Yeah.
what is it? Are you doing that like full time now, or?
I am doing that full time. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Still doing a bit of other projects for wine groups, but it's more on the side. And Amble Wine is the main focus.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And how did the idea for the name come about?
So it was more when I was studying, I just wanted an Instagram account like many wine lovers, and I was looking for a name. Humble was a name I found because I was looking for a synonym for to walk around. And actually, humble in English, it's quite an unknown word, sorry. But it means to walk around at a slow pace. Mm-hmm. So that's how it came, just creating the Instagram account. And then after that, when I created the company, I just decided to name it like my Instagram account, basically. And I quite like it,
Yeah, I think so too. So we already touched on your product portfolio, or maybe the basic, how did it start? But can you maybe just introduce like broadly what are you doing, like specifically what is in your portfolio now, and what are maybe your future ideas?
What's going on with our products? So we have several parts of our products. We have the theory part with the workbooks. That's the main focus of our business. So we started with wine maps. So we have workbooks that gather the main maps of the world, synthesizing grape varieties, appellations, climate, soils in a visual way. And then we provide the empty versions for the students to practice. We have either by countries, only focusing on France, Spain, Italy, or Switzerland, or we have the world edition that gather everything, so 110 wine maps. And we have an oceanographic guide as well with like 270 grape varieties. Mm-hmm. So it's really tools to help wine students practice their knowledge. That's for the wine map parts. We just launched a wine notebook to write down your tasting notes as well. And this is for the workbooks part. We have some books coming up, some new books coming up, but I can show you it afterwards. Then we have wine maps in high formats that you can just hang on the walls to visualize the wine regions at a glance. We have 30 wine maps available from France to Loire, Provence, Burgundy, Italy, Australia. And then we have the wine boxes to practice blind tasting. I'm not sure. Have you seen it on the website maybe, or you discovered it?
No, the blind tasting boxes. Do you mean, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like, and that was also, or that would be also my question. How do you select the wines?
We have several formats. So we choose either you get it by tubes. So it's a small format for 1 to 2 persons, or you can get it in half bottles. Yes. 3 half bottles for like 2 to 6 persons, and then in big bottles for 3 to 10 persons. And each time you get the wines that are blind. It's representative wines from emblematic appellations, and then we provide all the answers, grape varieties, details on the production methods, and of course the tasting notes, WSET format. I try to be as detailed as possible so that people that are studying for it's a level 3 or diploma style. And so how to select the wines? It's appellations that are quite emblematic, usually somewhere like Chablis, like Sancerre, or I don't know, Rioja, Tuscany. any wine that a wine student should know. And then I select several wine producers. I taste them. I taste the wines, and I talk a bit with the wine producers. And of course, there is a price. We need to be a sustainable business, so there is a price. There is a price dimension as well, and that's it. After I make the selection, and it goes in the box.
Nice. So is it basically the main idea behind these tasting books is the WSET diploma, right?
Yeah, kind of. And we have a lot of people just interested in learning wine tasting, and knowing that it's made for professionals is actually a good way to prove that it's a quality. Like it's not the wine boxes that you would find with like random wines. You really know it's made with care. We really put focus because it's made for professionals. So it's also for just wine lovers wanting to improve out of passion. But for sure, it's a bit more targeted for students.
Yeah. And I also saw like a Medoc investigation game, if I'm not mistaken. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, this was a limited edition that we made with Medoc and Medoc appellations. They got in touch with us and they wanted to create something together, something quite modern and funny to put the appellations forward. So the goal was to select 3 wines from Medoc and Medoc that are quite different from each other. So different production methods, different grape varieties, different aging, vintage. And we have a deck of cards with many attributes. And basically you have to recompose the profiles of each wine and reassign the cards to each wine. And so it's like you've got clues, and it's a little investigation that you can play in the team. So this is a bit less really practicing in a serious way. It's a bit more funny. This is more it's more for everyone basically, because we give a lot of clues as well, so that it's accessible even if you don't really know the wine industry.
But I think it's a really great idea. I think you should get on with that. Continue with it, because I have a lot of friends who are not necessarily preparing for the WSET diploma, or maybe don't have that detailed knowledge about wine regions and wines. But other than drinking, maybe together, it would be also nice, maybe just to teach them, like maybe they could learn about wine regions kind of unknowingly or indirectly via these games, because that's why I think it's kind of missing in this industry. Like either you have this very detailed and kind of rigid like workbooks, like the WSET one, or like this famous wine publications, or you have this kind of very loose, like kind of this is a rosé and it's off dry and you should enjoy it on the terrace kind of vibe, you know. And in between, like I don't really see the bridge in between these two groups, where you can maybe teach someone about wine, but they don't actually look at this kind of games as a direct lecture, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally understand. Yeah, I feel it's true. It's interesting to like teach people with the right vocabulary that professional would use, because they feel they for sure can understand. So why simplifying it too much?
Exactly.
It's interesting. I've got a lot of friends asking me like, why do you smell strawberry or vanilla? And like explaining like vanilla comes from vanillin and it's just the same atoms and the same particles. And then for sure, I feel like they can really understand. So in the end, creating tools that are accessible at the same time for professional and for people that just want to learn is the trick, but it can be done too.
Yeah.
The Medoc investigation game is a bit for that. It's like it's target. It's of course to our targets, the wine students, but I feel it's very accessible to everyone.
Yeah, I think so too. And because you live in Bordeaux, right? So it's kind of not a mystery or not a coincidence that you had this kind of assignment, so to say, to create a game about Medoc. Can you talk a little bit about your team, maybe, or how is the workflow in your company?
Yeah, well, we are only two right now. So I myself manage the creation of the products, the design and the selection of the wines, and the creation of the workbooks, and the finance part, like finding the money, or from the reception of the customers. And my teammate Alexandra is dealing with all the marketing and sales parts, so the website, the visuals, so all about the distribution basically.
Cool.
And still a small team, so let's see what's going on.
I also just wanted to maybe take a look at this beautiful present. What I had this the Explore Wine Maps, the Word edition actually, and it has 110 maps, and also infographics and very detailed information about grape varieties, which I haven't heard of in my life. So for example, Riesling, Roditisch, and I don't know what kind of really autochthonous, really rare grape varieties. And what I really like about this product is like it's really focusing on this WSET thematic, so on this WSET system. So it's like just an example. For example, Nero d'Avola, it's kind of known grape variety. Like you talk about also the wine, like also about the plant, like mid-ripening, late ripening, susceptible to powdery mildew, but also about the wine, which I really like. Of course, it's a bit more difficult because the wine mode is so great, but also like medium to deep color, medium acidity, medium to high tannins, high alcohol, medium to full body, medium to pronounced intensity, plum, tobacco, licorices, aromatics. I really like this kind of thematic because you don't have to read like an article about the grape variety, or maybe I don't have to look for specific clues in tasting notes on pro websites, but I get like really great, very detailed, very narrowed down overview about the variety. How do you choose these varieties, and did you come up with these kind of terms, like you tried every grape varieties in this book, or how did you create these?
I did. No, I haven't. No, it's when I created the maps. Well, mainly from the WSET knowledge, you have to look for a lot of information yourself as well to complete your learning, and as well from the each region's documentation. Like for instance, Riora provides a lot of information about grape varieties, climate, soils. So each time I was creating a map, I tried to find accurate and official content, official sources that gave me as much information as possible. And then I gather everything. I synthesized it. I formalized it in the same way. And I came up with like the information of the map and information of the grape varieties. So mainly, of course, it's just giving an indication of what's the profile of the grape varieties. Of course, depending on the regions and on how the wine is made, it will be different. But it's giving away, and like we all share the common ground on how the grape varieties will be. That's quite useful. You get at least like an idea on how Riesling would be, even if it's very different in Australia or in Alsace or in Germany, for instance. And actually, the next step that I would like to do is to create something only focusing on the grape varieties and showing like what's the variation between regions and appellations. Because here you just have Riesling and you have the profile of like what it should be about, but it doesn't give the difference between the appellations. So that will be a next step of our work that we are doing now.
Wow, really great idea! Can't wait for that. And just stay in Sicily. I also gonna upload some photos on Instagram if the listeners don't have this workbook yet, because I really recommend it, but maybe they don't have it yet. So just to stay in Sicily, then you can also look at the maps. And then you basically can see every sub-appellations on the island, and you also pair it kind of with colors. Like if you, for example, if you do Eloro DOC, you see rosé and red wines. And then if you look at this little info panel, and on the top, then you can also see all the grape varieties which are basically grown or really popular on this island. If it's white or red, and you have a little bracket for like a summarization of the island, like warm Mediterranean climate, cool and dry influence of northerly winds, and cooling effect of the altitude around Mount Etna. But you can really have your kind of red line about an idea what I really like. Like it's a very really detailed but yet summarized version of
each area,
of a region and of a wine style, which I really, really like, because it also saves a lot of time, I would say. Like if you don't have to create it for yourself, if you are a wine lover or if you are a wine student, you don't have to create this kind of summarization for yourself, but you just look at the page and in 2 minutes, you can really get a beautiful, well-detailed and well-drawn idea basically about the region. And how was maybe the workflow for that?
I started with the WLECT, of course, because that's the knowledge that we have. And I was focusing as well on studying for the WLECT when I was creating these maps. And then I wrote articles for each maps, either from other books, like Jancis Robinson, for instance, is a really great book, or from just online content, wine enthusiasts, just reading a lot of articles. And basically, if I saw a key feature that I was always coming up, I said, okay, this is really important about this region, so it should be in there. Of course, it's very, very hard to synthesize. I remember each time I started creating a map, I was just writing as much as possible about the region, and then I wanted to summarize. And this is the hardest part, because you have to cut some key informations. But at the same time, you can't tell everything, because otherwise it's not a workbook anymore. It just becomes a full book. It becomes an encyclopedia. I feel sometimes I could go more into details, but at the same time, it's for the purpose of learning. So it's always tricky.
I think it's a really good approach that you have a lot of space on the page, because it's not overwhelming. True. So that's why I was asking, because you really narrowed it down to the red line, so
exactly
to the basics, to the important things, and you are not afraid of leaving some empty space on a page. Yeah. You were.
Exactly. I was afraid to forget things, but it's always anyway. When you write something, you always improve it anyway. So, I guess leaving empty space, like what I always advise to wine students is, like, each time when they use the book, just take it as the basis and then add your own notes. That's why it's nice to have empty space, so you kind of appropriate the map, and then you can draw anything you want on the empty map, but you have still the same structure on each map, which is very helpful. So leaving empty space is like, I give you the right direction, like what's the climate, what's the main soil, and then you can still dig in and tell everything, like if you want to get precision, like on the winds, but sometimes you have the winds actually, but or if you want to get to note like specific winemakers, popular winemakers, that's also something very interesting. But I guess we might launch digital versions on the maps, and if we do that, we will be able to give a lot more information on this. It's still in the process of being created.
Oh, that would be also nice, because I was really struggling to basically put every important information on a map. But if it would be maybe layered somehow, like I know the important producers, the soil, the wind, the climate, but it's basically impossible to create it physically. But if you just launch it digitally, that would be actually the best solution.
That would be creating layers is actually a good idea that I'm keeping in mind. Thank you. Thank you, Mate. You love your work.
I keep some commissions then from
exactly.
And what I also really like is that you also have like a classification memo side. Like, for example, I look at Spain, and you have like about Rioja and also about Priorat, for example, the DOQ and DOCA. like kind of these triangles, what we always draw basically if we want to memorize it. I think it's also really, really helpful, and also it saves a lot of time.
Especially for Austria, you might be familiar with it, but I was struggling with Austria. Actually, I got it at the diploma, and I've written on this subject, so now I can't forget it anymore. But I remember being struggling, and it was helpful to draw the classification.
Yeah, and it's also changing all the time. So if you just think about Wachau, it became a DOC in 2020. So
that's something also challenging about the workbooks and all the wine books. Actually, it's like the evolution of the wines industry is crazy and very fast. So we always have to keep up with the trends, with like the evolution on the appellations, new colors. Of course we plan to create updated version of the books, and digital versions can really help as well with that. Like it's also the part for like all wine lovers should be aware that we have to keep up with the trends. It's crazy.
Yeah. And also what I really like is that you have basically the same maps in the practice wine maps, like kind of the blank version in another exercise book basically. So you don't have to make a different kind of assumptions about maps if you want to practice it. So I find it really great that you just kind of copy paste it, because I think that's the best solution. But you have also a lot of like blank space on the map. So you can, if you want, like you can write with pencil, and one time you write producers, soil, or weather. But if you want, you can write the names of the appellation. I think it's a very good idea.
Yeah, it's a needed tool for wine students for sure.
So how do you maybe plan to expand the portfolio for the future, like other than digital versions? Like what are your big plans?
So you've seen we've done a lot of things on wine maps, but we haven't done a lot on production yet. So this is really the focus of this year. We'll be launching 2 different books on wine production, explaining, and so the goal is still the same. It's our focus, how to practice our knowledge. So basically we're launching one in May and probably one at the end of the year, helping you to practice the wine production part, like from the vine to the wine.
Cool.
Detailing each step, and giving you tools to practice. I'm not telling you a bit more. I'm keeping the suspense, but it will be two very complementary and nice tools. And then we also plan to. Well, but we have this digital part, so we don't really know yet how the exact way we will be doing it. For sure, we'll have something accessible for free on our website. We've launched it last year, and we had to. It's very technical, but we just had to change the hoster of our website, so we have to do it again. But we will be launching this part. So it's like an online library where you can find all the information on grape varieties, wine regions for free. Because we want to give information as well to wine students available for free, a bit on the format like Wine Folly, but more targeted to wine students. And this might come up very soon as well. And then we have several tools, because people always share a lot of very nice ideas. Then we double cross it with like the need of the industry and our ideas. Cool. And that's it. Let's see. So 2023 will be a great year as well in terms of product development.
I think your story is also very inspiring, because I think a lot of WSET students are actually maybe planning to do something on their own and help others also on their journey, but also maybe just to be an entrepreneur and realize their own ideas about wines, and also maybe create a business, but maybe also bring something new and refreshing to the industry. So I think it's very moving and really inspiring what you are doing, especially in such a short amount of time. So really great.
Thank you. Yeah, well, we'll see where it goes. For the moment, it's true that I'm enjoying every day, and it's great as well to be able to talk. I'm sure like everyone has the resources to do the same. It's just you need a bit of time, of course. Actually, quite a lot of time because it has. You always ask a lot of questions. Of course, you do things that you wouldn't do the same. But then it's just about as well everything. I've learned so much while doing this. I think I will not have learned the same even if I was working in a big company or any other project. So I guess I would encourage anyone to try, at least just for the learning process. Even if it's not successful for yourself, it's such something that is developing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure developing your podcast is the same. You've learned a lot. It's that's an entrepreneur thing as well. So
yeah, it opens
even
a
people
lot of doors also. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly. Yeah. For sure. So let's see where it goes.
Yeah. Because I also encourage listeners to take a look at your Instagram page. I also saw that you are traveling a lot, right?
Yeah. In the end, Instagram maybe shows you a lot of things. I'm traveling a bit, but it's most of the time I'm still working behind my computer and drawing things. But I don't post. I only post the things when I'm moving, so it feels like I'm moving a lot. But if I post every day what I do, there would be a lot of computer thing, of course. So it's, but it's less interesting, I guess.
But you do a lot of winery visits, right? Is the main intention behind these visits to find maybe more wines or wineries for your portfolio, for basically your online shop?
To be honest, I think I'm really afraid to forget the knowledge. And I really enjoy myself visiting the wine estates. So I feel like staying close to the product, meeting the winemakers, and it will be a great way to keep up with the trends and to stay close to the producers. So anything that I'm sharing online with people will still be will still be kind of up to trend and true. So it's out of a personal interest, and at the same time, of course, if I can find great wines, I will put it forward. But just about sharing the insights as well is interesting.
Yeah, I think that was a really great idea that you launched this kind of mini online shop, or now it's kind of mini, but I hope it's gonna grow, because for me a little bit easier because I'm also sommelier. But if there are also a lot of students who are not sommeliers or maybe not directly working in the industry, and maybe I'm not sure which kind of wines are maybe typical from the region, from the appellation. So I think this is a kind of also missing link, that someone who actually graduated from this program and who knows how things work in this kind of very kind of rigid educational model, maybe knows which kind of wines are typical, and I can maybe like easily just click on ordering, and I can be sure that the wines that are coming to my home for my money are doing me some good. So
exactly, true.
Really nice idea.
And it's kind of tricky these times because at the same times we want to have local wines, so only getting products close to us, because of course it's less CO2 emission during the travel of the wines. So there is this dimension, but at the same time, at the other end, you want wines, you want to learn, and you want to have wines. You want to be able to taste wine from Australia. So I guess this is a challenge for the wine distributors and for wine schools, wine educators, to be able to provide wine from far. It's still an answer question. So I guess everyone has his point of view on that. I guess you have to find a balance between promote and support or local winemakers, but still be able to access and provide education on wine from abroad. Interesting, but it's a long subject, I guess.
Yeah, but I think you have a lot of I think you have a lot of ideas on your own and a lot of maybe a lot of path that you can step on, right?
Yeah, let's see.
You think about it.
Yeah, let's see. True.
Yeah.
Wine education is broad. It's true that you have so many things. It's what's great with wine. You have like the dimension, like you have of course wine tasting by itself, but then you also study history, geology, chemistry, sorry, French term. Science. You have so many things linked that you actually never end. It never ends. You always learn. It's nice. So you always have new things to focus. And as a wine educator or wine creating educational tools, it never ends. That's what is beautiful. Yeah. We always have ideas basically, and it evolves. So it's an exciting path as well. And at the same time, it's frightening because you will never. It will never end. You will never be okay. I've shared everything. It's not possible.
Yeah, but it's also that what maybe keeps you moving, right?
Exactly.
And do you maybe just talk about the practical thing? Do you ship everywhere in the world? Like, do you ship worldwide?
We ship mainly to Europe, and then like the most basically what is the most challenging in shipping worldwide. We do it; it's possible, but it's just that the shipping costs are quite high because we are still a small company and we face high shipping costs. Yeah. So we don't have in place the distribution method to ship everywhere. Mainly, the next thing would be to partner with other companies abroad to be able to distribute in other places. But still, if you are ready to pay a high shipping cost, we do ship everywhere in the world. And Europe is for sure accessible at good prices.
Yeah, that's true. Because I also have a lot of listeners from the US, and that's why I'm asking. Maybe they want to order your products. And maybe another practical thing, because I just saw actually this tasting book what you launched with this 100 sheet, and this is also taking the WSET structure or the criteria, right? Which I'm also really happy for that, because I wanted to create something on my own, to be honest, just to print it, but now I can just click on order and pay. And I think it's also a really good example how this valuable time of a student can be basically saved by such good companies as yours. So thank you very much, Leah.
Thank you, Mate. It's nice. Yeah.
Wish you good luck for 2020.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. And let's talk in a few months, years, to see the evolution.
Exactly. Maybe we do a cooperation.
Exactly. For sure.
Yeah.
With pleasure.
Okay, La, thank you very much. Would you like to add something maybe?
But feel free to get in touch if you need. Like I'm talking to anyone listening. We're happy to get any insights, any questions, and we are really happy to exchange just on wine. If you want, you can get in touch. We have Instagram, TikTok, on our website amblewine.com, and that's it.
Cool. Okay. Thank you, Lara. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you, Mate.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.